Before we start, let us define first what is a pump. A pump, in layman's term, is a device where it raises, transfers, delivers, or compresses fluids via suction or increase in pressure. Pumps are most used in irrigation, water supply, gasoline supply, air conditioning system, and lastly, of course, flood control. Situation before pump are installed and after. As we all know, flood is one of the most common problems that we Filipinos face whenever there is a storm. There are floods that are stuck in the middle of our cities and highways. This is because of some blocked drainage, but also because of the water have nowhere to go. This problem can be lessened, if not resolved, with the use of pumps. Installing pumps would greatly reduce the flooding during thunderstorms. Just like what they did in Pasig, Santa Lucia area has been facing flood problems for these past storms. But after installing pumps, which connects it to the nearest river and lake, namely the Bintad River and Laguna Lake, its flooding problem has been reduced, to the point wherein there are no flooding anymore even during the thunderstorm. There are already 33 pumps installed all around Pasig, which makes them equipped for some storms and flooding that will come when rainy season came. Of course, even with these advantages that pumps provide, there are still disadvantages that it gives. One of which is the power requirement that it needs to be able to operate. It operates at a very high voltage, which results in the high consumption of electricity. High consumption of electricity leads to a higher bill and would cost a lot of money. And the other problem is overheating. Thunderstorms may last hours, meaning pumps would operate for as long as there is a storm and flood. This may cause the pumps to overheat due to the long use. When it overheats, it does not only perform its sole duty, but it also costs money and maintenance that citizens would carry.
One of the other product or new technology here in the Philippines is usually in the field of agricultural is the rice transplanter. There are two types of rice transplanter, the riding type and the walking type. Rice transplanter is designed for transplanting rice seedlings into paddle or level field. It is recommended for large or medium size of farms. It is operate faster and more efficient than manual transplanting as it can plant up to 2 hectares per day. It also minimize the drudgery or the cost of the rice transplanting and ensure its crop productivity. In significance, this machine provides optimum spacing and number of seeding per hill. And in this first image, you can see this is the riding type transplanter, and the second image here is the walking type transplanter. If you want to know the difference between the two, the only thing I can say is the riding transplanter is more faster than the walking transplanter. And you can see here, next is the type, the parts. The parts of the transplanter. You can see there the seeding carrot roller were the ones who carries the seeds with a minimum of 6 numbers of rows, and the row spacing is 30 centimeter. And we have here the seeding tray. It is uh, the seeding tray is adjustable, that it could have a maximum of 200 pieces of seeding, and then the fuel tank, the headlamp for overnight duty, and then the 4-stroke diesel engine, and the middle floating plate so that the machine wouldn't sink, and then the driving wheel, which represent the the wheel, and the side row faller device. And that's all. The next new technology would be presented by my co-partners.
Renewable energy refers to energy sources that can be replenished naturally in a relatively short amount of time, especially when compared to non-renewable sources such as petroleum, coal, and natural gas. The most common forms of renewable energy are solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal. The development and implementation of renewable energy have been on the rise due to concerns over climate change and depletion of non-renewable resources. These sources of energy provide alternatives to fossil fuels, which are responsible for producing significant amounts of greenhouse gas emissions and environmental damage. A notable renewable energy project in the Philippines is the San Carlos Solar Energy Project located in San Carlos City, Negros Occidental. This project, also called the Solar City, is the largest solar power plant in Southeast Asia with a total capacity of 22.5 megawatts. The solar panels cover 35 hectares of land and generate enough electricity to power up 35,000 households. The Solar City concept aims to reduce carbon emissions, provide reliable and affordable energy, and increase energy efficiency. The impact of the Solar City of San Carlos to the environment of the Philippines is undeniable. For one, it has helped reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels, which are a major contributor to pollution and climate change. By tapping into solar energy, San Carlos has helped reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the country's power generation sector. In fact, the San Carlos Solar Power Project alone is expected to reduce CO2 emissions by around 15,000 metric tons a year.
In the meantime, vertical farm using a hydroponic setup are also ideal in the metro because it helps farming enthusiasts grow food without worrying about space or keeping a close eyes on their crops. A bow setup called aquaponic has a similar approach but uses as an extra element fish waste from the fish serves as a natural fertilizer for the crop.
Agricultural drones. Cheaper drones have taken Filipino farmers to new heights of productivity. The use of agricultural drones has grown significantly over the past decade, often used to help farmers engage in timely, data-driven farming. Drones already being used to quickly assess the condition of fields, cutting down on the required hours and labor requirements for this regular activity. They can cover more ground and more accurately map out problems areas that people on foot typically can. Additionally, drones are also being used to keep farmers safe while still expensive. Pesticide spraying drones are seeing increased use in the sanctuary or in the country. These drones offer several advantages over traditional manual methods, including better dispersion and less operator exposure to pesticides, thus helping farmers avoid one of the most common hazards on Philippine farms. Therefore, agricultural drones help farmers navigate their crops even better with the comfort of their home or in their kubo, let's say. This will help them navigate if their soil is getting too dry or if the crops are becoming more fruitful for them to know what are the parts in their field that they can plant more crops. The impact of these environmental technologies to the Philippines is that the way of living will become much easier or will improve due to the drastic changes in the technology. Also, it can help us in the agricultural aspect of our country. Therefore, farmers and normal people in the city can have a better way of living in the country. To sum up all the things that have been said in this video is that technologies in regards to the environment is that this will surely help us reach greater height and help us take a step forward to the future. And we can see that these technologies are mostly we are mostly gaining advantages instead of disadvantages. Therefore, we can surely it can surely help benefit our lives and give us a better way of living in the near future. That is all. Thank you.